Hello, lovely listener. How's your day today? You feeling good? Did you wake up a little groggy? Did you have a good cup of coffee or some tea? Did it make you feel better? I hope so. And I hope you're feeling even a little more better right now, listening to this radio show.
Personalizing it. Nice.
Of course. That's what I'm doing from now on. I'm pretending from now on as if I'm doing the show for one person.
Matt Reeves.
How you doing, Matt? Weirdest podcast ever. Dedicated to one person, Matt Reeves. By the way, perfect name for that. Speaking of personalizing things, I want to do a quick shout out to our wonderful sponsor today, BetterHelp.
Woo.
We've partnered up with them. We'll be doing the main. We'll talk a little bit more about it later on in the show. However, if you go to betterhelp.com/Wesam, boom, 10% off your first month. Isn't that incredible?
It's incredible.
Also incredible, Guayaki. Helping preserve the rainforest. Now, if ever, you want to help the Amazon, buy Guayaki. Seriously. It's a company that helps preserve the Amazon rainforest, and as you know, it's burning. It's burning quicker. You know what I wish? I'll say this. I don't care if it's controversial. I don't care. I wish people cared more about the Amazon burning than a church catching on fire. Notre Dame. Sorry. Not sorry. Did you see how much money they raised so quickly for that old church? By the way, I get it. Cool church. They don't need more money. Surprise. The Amazon, however, Earth's lungs, literally Earth's lungs. Nobody cares. We deserve an apocalypse.
This is Hell World, yeah.
We deserve an apocalypse. Oh, man, I'm worked up already. I am worked up already. Real quick, also as well, Patreon supporters, we got some new ones. Thank you so much. Seriously, special shout out to you. Send me a message. Tell me that you like the Patreon videos because you're getting a little extra when you sign up on Patreon. Is that right, Michael?
Yes, it is.
Peyton, isn't that right?
That's so right.
You get little extra videos that no one else sees. Only you. Because you give a little extra, boom, we give you a lot extra. That's how we make love to you. Matt Reeves.
Wow.
This is the best fucking radio show ever. Anyway.
Who's our guest?
Not sure. No, I'm kidding. It's our guest today, Matt Reeves, is Jason Inman. Jason Inman, I've known him since college.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah. We used to shoot videos together, funny videos. We used to play in plays. Play in plays. That's a word. And he's also the author of a new book called Super Soldiers, a salute to the comic book heroes and villains who fought for their country. He also hosts, and he holds it.
He holds court.
He in a way, he holds a very popular podcast called GEEK History Lesson. And so we're going to talk about that, talk about the book, talk about comic book heroes, comics, also about Popeye's chicken sandwich, what's going on with that craze.
Nice.
And you've got some current events. Peyton, it looks good. I shot a video with him over the week. It's gone through the roof in Mexico. Boom! We made it in Mexico, baby. Prime time in Mexico. How do we say prime time in Spanish?
I don't speak Spanish.
Well,
I know.
Can you Google
I'm
it?
Terrible Hispanic.
I want to know how to say prime time in Spanish before we go into it because
Prima Timo?
Primo Timo.
I don't think that's it.
Oh, son of a bitch, Michael! You can't let me say that right on air, Bo, baby.
Don't forget Alexa.
I know. Hora estelar. Hola, hora estelar.
Maxima audiencia.
What?
Yes, I have.
Man, you know what? I'm sorry to our Spanish-speaking listeners. Tweet at me. Let me know the proper way to say primetime in Spanish because we're popular in Spanish because of the YouTube video. And finally, if you have an Alexa, remember, all you got to do is, hey, Alexa, play Adobe Radio. Boom. Wesam's World, 3 p.m. Thursdays.
What?
Please welcome my friend, Jason Inman. I'm signing the book.
Yep, to you.
To Wesam with love.
With beautiful eyes.
And beautiful eyes.
You have beautiful eyes. Yeah.
I do. This is not our second time doing this. Jason Inman. And all I need you to do is
see, I'm gonna initial it twice now. So that's what I'm gonna do. There's a double initial, so that's a unique copy of a book, my own book that I did not sign.
That's amazing.
To Wesam.
Well, like I was saying, the perfect start to our ridiculous start to our origins, because we had done a lot of funny and ridiculous videos in college together.
You were the only one willing to do some of my stupid ideas, and then you brought me stupid ideas, and I was like, let's film them.
You know what one was the stupidest one? The I looked like a mime, but I was the robot, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I look like a puppeteer.
Yes,
or a puppet.
Okay, that was we did the 24-hour film race in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes.
And we came up with because they would give you a theme. God, what was that called? It was called Mr. Something, Mr. like Monday, and you were like a robot who people could, for lonely people is what it was.
Yes.
Yeah. And we made you look like a mime. But yeah, you would like walk like this and
right.
But you were terrible at being a companion was the joke, I think, was the entire joke, is that the people were lonely, they would buy you, and you were just really bad at being a companion.
Yeah.
I can't remember the joke. Oh,
and I stabbed Sean Stewart, or choked him at the end of the thing.
You choked him out when his
dad died. It was an infomercial kind of thing,
it wasn't
remember?
All infomercial, like buy this product.
And you kept turning around in the same space, so it just looked like you were doing a circle.
Yeah. It was the idea that I was the scientist that built you. But yeah, it was the joke that every shot you cut to me, I was always like, hello, but it was the same room.
Right. I just remember how much of a process it was to like film, and the time it took to edit and upload, and like fast forward now 10 years plus.
Yeah, 10 years plus.
How much quicker it is now to film, edit, and upload.
You want to know the craziest thing about that? We shot on videotapes. Now, they like not true videotapes, but like there are these things called mini DVs, and they were high def, but they were tapes. Now you're just memory cards, man. It's insane.
You had to like, oh my gosh, this takes me back now. I feel kind of old, but not really.
We're all old. Get with it, man.
I guess.
But you have beautiful old eyes.
I do.
Just want to say.
Thank you.
You know, my favorite part, I just, I hope you're not sponsored by them, but I hate Facebook.
Oh, no.
My favorite part of Facebook now, and I only keep it because I have family, is to go to the memories tab and look at like what I did. And a lot of times recently it's been like some weird picture from the weird videos we used to film.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Or be like, oh yeah, we were filming Brokeback Mime, or you were filming Uncle Stewart, or by the way, Uncle Stewart is all on YouTube.
I'm telling you, that was one of my favorite things to film ever.
Yeah.
It was like my humor and the type of stories we want to tell. It was actually like, I rewatched it a while ago and I was like, there's actually some substance to this. There's a lot of fat on it, but like it's a story. Yeah.
We should set the table for all our listeners who are like, what the hell is young Uncle Stewart? So my senior thesis project, I was in the film department at University of Tulsa. They basically let me decide what I wanted to do. And I wanted to make a mockumentary because I thought it would be kind of a challenge because I'd never made something like that. And The Office was very big at the time. So I was like, I want to do something like that. And then I think I came to you and was like, what do you think? And you told me you had this idea for this clown character that you and is it Joey was his name?
Yeah. Joey O'Brien.
You and Joey O'Brien had this character over this clown, and then we just expanded it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's 40 minutes long.
It is 40 minutes long.
Yeah, and it's all on YouTube. I've actually been waiting for you to get nominated for an Oscar because I was like, I was gonna drop that to Variety and like let it go crazy. By the way, I've been expecting whenever you make it onto the Tonight Show or something like that, they're gonna play like Brokeback Mime or they're gonna play Uncle Stewart.
I hope so.
I've been waiting for it. I'm like, oh man, that's gonna be like.
Well, that was kind of my breakthrough into auditioning. In LA, when I first moved out here, I was like, okay, what are my strengths?
Yeah.
Mimes. Like mime work. You know what I mean? And so I was like, cool, I've got a mime work.
We did a lot of mime stuff.
Way too much mime stuff.
Way too many.
Like, did you go to mime school? No, I was I was trained as an actor.
It's weird also that our base idea was like, what should we do? Yeah, put Wesam in clown makeup.
Yeah. So like old school, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's an actor.
Yeah. That's funny.
My first TV gig,
Yeah.
1,000 Ways to Die, a mime who chokes on a sandwich who people think he's acting.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That's
And
funny.
that's kind of like my breakthrough into television.
Yeah.
You just never know what's going to help you.
Well, I'm gonna say this: you were my favorite mime in our Brokeback Mime. You were.
Wow.
Of the two.
Out of the two. Speaking of Pete Brennan, who was the second mime, we did a shot-for-shot almost remake of the trailer for Brokeback Mountain, just done in mimes. So you can check that out. And
Yep.
he actually got a job at TU just now. He's teaching.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm not sure. I need to ask him because they don't have a theater department anymore.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it either.
Yeah.
I stopped giving them money a long time ago.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah.
That's good on you because I never did. They always ask me.
Oh
and
no,
was
I
like,
never gave them money ever.
Oh,
from the
you
beginning.
never- oh,
but,
okay.
But now I refuse to even answer any of their emails or letters or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of went downhill
Yeah.
quickly.
Oh man, there it is.
Oh.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's Brokeback Mime. Yeah.
Look at that.
I don't know. Oh wow, YouTube kept the sound. By the way, everyone might laugh at this. We won an award for this.
Yeah.
We won an award for
Cinematography?
for best cinematography for
Yeah.
this thing in a film festival.
It's shot
Yeah.
so well,
Yeah.
Jason.
Yep. Most of it's handheld too.
So stupid.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
stupid.
actually clap.
Yep. But yeah, if you go watch the real Brokeback Mountain trailer, it is literally shot for shot, the trailer.
Dude. Good times.
Yep.
What's that?
You said that was Pete Brennan?
Yeah, you know Pete?
Yeah.
What?
Wow, how do you know Pete?
I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Whoa!
Wait, how do you know Pete?
I know Pete, Theater Tulsa.
Oh,
wow.
wow. Great.
I did the Crucible for Theater Tulsa.
Oh,
You did?
Yeah, I was John Proctor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
oh
Only because I had long hair.
you'd be a good John Proctor.
Yeah. I was just angry.
Yeah.
Yep. Our old theater instructor, Dr. Cook, old man, looked like Santa Claus. He came and saw that production, and I will never forget. I saw him after the play, and I was like, "What did you think?" And he was like, "You were angry." That was his only words.
Wow.
And I was like, "All right,
Wow.
I'll take it."
He was he left shortly after we graduated, right?
I think so. Yeah.
He retired.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing nowadays. I don't know if he would remember me.
I don't know if he'd remember any of us, but I hate to say it. I love the man dearly. He's the whole reason I went to that school.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah.
How'd you know him before?
Well, so I actually applied for the University of Tulsa in this will definitely show my age in 2004. Because that's when I finished my first 2 years of junior college. And then what happened is I applied for University of Tulsa, I applied for OSU and a couple other places. And I got scholarships at a bunch of different places. I didn't know where to go. But I was leaning towards University of Tulsa. And then I got activated to go to Iraq when I was in the Army. That's when it happened. So they were like, 2005, you're going to go to Iraq. And I had to email all these professors and be like, I can't accept your scholarship because I have to go. And I was so worried because I was like, oh, what's going to happen? Because I lost all these scholarships. And Dr. Cook was the only one that emailed me back and said, don't worry. You tell us when you're coming back. We will hold it for you.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so that was as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, and he emailed me the whole year.
Yeah.
Once a month, he'd be like, hey, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to that place. So
yeah.
yeah.
This is something actually I was really curious to bring you on the show and talk to you about. And the core of your book, it has to deal with your military experience and your service. And I'm curious to know, what was your initial pull to join the military?
Ooh. A lot of it is that, when you're young and especially if you're under 25 and especially if you're a man, you kind of feel that pull to be like, I want to do something that nobody else has ever done, or I want to climb that mountain. That's kind of what it was, because nobody in my family has ever joined the military, and everybody in my family, I come from a family of farmers. They're all like, you go start the family farm, you do it over here in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and that's what you do. And then you grow up, and you're poor most of your life, and it's hard as hell, and it sucks, and that's what you do. So I looked at the military as this idea. I really bought into the recruiter's speech of like, oh, you can travel and see the world, and you can do a lot of things, and so I signed up when I was 17. I looked at it as my golden ticket out of there, but also as like an adventure. And I always looked at it as 6 years, and I say that in the book a couple times too. Like I always saw it as 6 years, and 6 years I was going to be done, and I had to have an interesting bit of stories. But mostly my military experience, I would say it's positive. Like I had a positive time, although the con was, that I spent an entire year in Iraq in the middle of a combat zone at the height of combat there.
Wow.
When I was 21. I was. That's the thing that has come on to me now when I'm talking to other people where they're like, oh yeah, when I was 21 and 22, and I was like, oh, I was in the middle of a combat zone when I was 21. That's insane. And it's interesting that I'm now this far removed because I was there in 2005, so I'm bad with math. So that was 14 years ago. How much that definitely affected my life, and how different my life would be if I hadn't done that.
Yeah. What was your occupation in the military exactly?
I was a combat engineer, which basically are the people, and I chose this because again I was the young man, and I was like, you take an ASVAB score, which is basically your ACT for the military. I took that. I scored really well on that. So they wanted me to come into military intelligence. But I looked at it as like, no, that's a paper pusher job. I don't want that. I wanted to do the job that was the most military. And the most military job was either infantry or combat engineer. Infantry was just pick up a gun and shoot somebody. Or pick up a weapon, excuse me. Combat engineer was there's something in the road, pick up a block of C4, put it on the thing, blow it up. And so to me, blowing stuff up was the most military job you could ever have. So I know a lot about C4.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. So if you ever need something blown up, I'm available.
Okay.
You just have to buy the C4.
Well, I don't want to be put on a watch list.
Yeah.
Let's just make that very clear right now. So I will not be
I'm
asking.
already on the watch list. So.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, I probably. No.
Question actually
Yeah,
I have
sure.
about C4. How is it? Does it need an electrical charge to blow up, or can you hit it hard enough and it'll blow up?
No, there's no hitting a block of C4.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
That's a complete movie invention.
Okay.
You always need some sort of detonator. Yeah, it is an electrical charge.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And what is the actual chemical compound of C4? Like, what is that?
That I don't know.
Okay.
That I don't know, or I've forgotten.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I've just always been curious. Like,
We just always had the bricks. We just always had those gray bricks.
Yeah. Is it flammable and then it would explode, or it needs an electrical charge specifically?
No, we would always put this little detonator. I think it's called an M60, M something like that.
Yeah.
It was this little tiny detonator. It kind of looked like a meat thermometer.
Yeah.
And you just pop it in there, and then you'd have a radio controller for it.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
But is it if it caught fire, would it explode?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I will never encounter C4 in my life, probably, but I just was.
Well, I
very
think it's a
curious
government-controlled substance, so
Really?
yeah, I think so. I don't think you can go to a store and buy C4. I'm pretty certain about that.
about it.
If only you could, right? Oh man, can you imagine this country if you could buy C4 in Walmart? We're gonna go down a scary road there.
Yeah.
You want me to sign that book again?
Is it L1A2 detonator?
That's sure.
I don't know. I just.
It's a long time ago.
We're definitely flagged now. If you're Googling, we need C4 detonators.
Adobe's flagged.
Oh, Adobe's flagged. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, are they? Okay.
I listened to the Jocko podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with
No.
it. He's written a couple books that have actually influenced my life in a very positive way. Better living, more disciplined living, and applying that to my personal life, my career, and found a lot of positive results. And on his podcast, he brings on these old school veterans who served in Nam and SEALs or Army Rangers, and they talk about their stories, man. And some of them talk about C4 or these what are they called? Toe biters, toe something. Anyway, what they used to use as weapons back in Vietnam on the secret missions. I've always been interested in just military in general.
Yeah.
So, combat engineer. Mm-hmm. You were in the thick of it. Did you go through basic training? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how long before you were sent off?
It was 5 years. I got deployed my fifth year. My fifth year I was in. So the year before. So it was funny when we came back, I had less than 6 months left. Yeah. And of course they were like, "You ready to sign up again?" And I'm like, "No, no." I remember throwing my M16 at them when I was done. I threw it at them.
Whoa.
Yeah, I tell that story in the book. I was because in Iraq you have to carry, or any combat zone, you have to carry your weapon around with you at all times.
Yeah.
So it becomes a third arm.
Yeah.
And when we finally got to turn that in, I threw it at the quartermaster. The quartermaster's like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "I don't want this thing anymore, man. I just don't want it." Yeah. Yeah. So
May I ask what was
Yeah.
the feeling of just wanting to get rid of it? Is just because it was more of an annoyance, a burden, or you were just done fighting, or you just wanted to end this chapter in your life?
I think it was the burden. I think the idea that like you had this thing. I mean, it's a literal albatross, right? Like hanging on your shoulder for a year, and it's like that constant reminder of, oh, this thing is always with me. That was like one of the things, and I talk about this in the book quite a bit. One of the things that's so interesting, and a lot of people don't realize, is that when you come back from a situation like that for that year, you're in this year for so long, and you think it's never going to end. Like, and it becomes like this dreamlike state. And there's a certain point where the reality is so absurd yet kiltered that you think this is reality now. There's a certain point where you're just like, all right, this is the rest of my life. Like, this is it. Like, I'll never go back to the way it was. And then when you actually do, it feels like you're waking up from a dream. So I remember for the 6 months after that, just driving to one time I talked about I was going to Subway because I was like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to go to Subway. And I remember having the revelation in the car that like, oh, I am driving to Subway because I want to, not because I was ordered to. And it was all my choice. And I was like, oh, this is such a weird feeling that I can do what I want. Because that's the other thing you lose when you're in the military, especially in a zone, is that everything you do is an order or a mission. You don't get to choose to leave the base. You don't get to choose to go over here. You don't get to choose when you want to sleep. Like, it is all chosen for you. So the fact to have all that back is suddenly overwhelming. You're just like, whoa, what am I doing? I can actually like watch TV now? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find any hardship with adjusting?
It took about 6 months. It took about 6 months for me. But luckily, this was the semester before I came to TU. So luckily, I kind of just I kind of asked my parents. I was like, can I just move back in? Like, is that okay? Because I had to give up my apartment. I had to give up all everything like that. So I was like, can I just like chill at your place for like, 3 or 4 months? And they were like, yeah, totally, that's fine. So luckily I was like got to just hang out and see friends and do stuff like that. I did a couple plays in that time. Just because I was like, oh, okay, whatever, I'll do a play. I did like Chicago.
Yeah.
I did a lot of plays that I hadn't before Iraq. I wouldn't have done because it gives you. I'll tell you the one thing about going through any kind of combat experience. It gives you an amazing confidence because you're just like, well, nothing happened over there, so man, nothing can stop me now.
Yeah.
Or it's one of those things. So like, yeah, I tried out for a musical that I would have never done before, and I got cast as like Amos, and I was like, oh, this is great, this is fun. So,
yeah. Well, when you're in a combat zone
Yeah.
and then they're like, hey, you want to do a play? Yeah, the stakes are. You're gonna perform in front of people. I hope you're not nervous. Like, yeah. I'm fine. Nobody's gonna be shooting at me, right? But yeah. I'm fine.
but that's like that's like one of the biggest things I wanted to do with the book is the idea is that I wanted people to have like different perspectives on these fictional characters that we're now seeing in movies, every 2 months. Thank you, Disney. But also like through these fictional characters sort of get a lens to this is kind of like what the military is, or this is what the military can change people. Like, which is I think a perspective that many people don't have, which is weird, even though I think people know more. I think we know more military service members now than we've ever at any other time in our history because the war on terror has increased the number of veterans in this country to astronomical heights.
Well, it was really interesting about the book is I almost saw it as like a quick like character study with each one of like a core belief of where they're coming from because it does influence, like you said, so much of where they currently are, the superheroes, or where they will have been, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think something like the military is, I mean, again, I'm speaking from not having done it, it can be a huge impact for someone. Positive or negative, depending on the person, depending on the circumstances, depending on what they have to do during their service. So I kind of enjoyed reading it. I actually skipped to the end and read why like the honorable mentions. And I was like, oh yeah, Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, yeah, he did mention Wolverine. So that was really
I had to do the honorable mentions chapter because I knew that I had this list of 16. Actually, the original list was 20.
Yeah.
And then I was halfway through writing the book. And I was told that the publisher wanted the book somewhere between like 50,000 and 60,000 words. They were like, that's the prime spot. And I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. I was halfway through writing the book, and I was at character, I think, 6, and I was already at 30,000 words. And I was like, ooh, I need to cut some of these characters. which I thought was a good thing. I was worried about hitting that word count or getting to that point, but I found as I was writing it, my word counts get longer and longer and longer. So yeah, the honorable mention is basically to shut up the internet when they're like, "With these characters not in there," and I'm like, okay, relax. Yeah. Also, I was never going to find all of them.
Well, you focused also on American service.
Yeah,
as well,
I had to delineate somewhere.
Well, there's so many superheroes and
there's also fake military institutions and superheroes like all over the place. Like a lot of people have gamed me on Bucky, which James Buchanan Barnes, and I put it in there. The original reason why he's not in there is in the original comic books, he's not even in the army. He is just the kid that's like, "Hey, Captain America, let's go!" And Captain America's like, "Come to the war with me," and you're just like, "What?"
He's a child.
Yeah, he's literally 16, following Captain America into D-Day.
Whoa.
Yeah. His origin in the comic books makes sense for why he becomes the Winter Soldier, because you're like, Cap probably put him in a lot of situations that he should have never been in.
Yeah.
But in the movies, they like aged him up and made him a soldier smartly, I think.
How do you feel about that? Disney taking over and
at the world?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But in general, like, here's my opinion about it.
That was going to be one of my current events, but
Disney. Oh yeah. We'll talk about it
we can
in
talk
detail.
About current events,
I'll shift the convo a little bit in terms of. I think for anybody who's a comic book fan, the last, would you say, 5-7 years has been kind of the start of the golden era for like TV comic book people?
I would couch it as maybe even a little bit earlier than that.
Okay.
I kind of think it starts with Arrow. I really do. I think the first season of Arrow is the start of the golden age, because I think and we don't get Arrow without Smallville. Smallville for 10 years is the only comic book show on television.
Well, do we go back to Smallville?
Well, I think Arrow is the start of it, because Arrow creates this universe that are 5 other shows that are all interconnected, and it becomes this thing. Like, and they're all successful shows. And then I think that is what leads to Marvel Netflix. I think that's what leads to The Boys. I think that's what leads to all this other stuff. I really do think Arrow created like the current comic book golden age, and Marvel, of course, was well into its. I mean, Avengers 1 came out the year after Arrow premiered, I believe. So, like, when Avengers hit and Arrow hits in that same year, so it's 2011, 2012, I think, is like that's the start.
Arrow is 2012,
yeah.
October 2012, and I think the Avengers came out summer.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely 2012. It's like that's when it exploded. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah,
I also think the opportunity not only for actors in general, there's just more work than ever.
Yeah,
and writers, there's more work than ever. But also the fact that now audience members can enjoy these what's the word I'm looking for? These characters that weren't so prominent, like side characters or side.
All right, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
Have you seen Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Do you even know who the Doom Patrol are?
No.
Okay. So the Doom Patrol is this DC Comics character. It's only on their streaming service, DC Universe. Bar none, it is the best comic book show, if not one of the best television shows I have watched this year.
Oh.
And it's a show about these C-list characters. Like the Doom Patrol have only had maybe one successful comic book run in their entire history. They were created like in the 60s. And the run was written by Grant Morrison, and it was like in the late 80s, early 90s. They've tried to come back a couple of times. They even came back very recently, like 3 years ago. I think the comic was canceled before it even reached issue 20. But on the show, the writers and the actors kind of take advantage of the audiences don't really know these characters, but what's the one thing we know about these characters? They're really weird. Like, it stars a man who's a robot who the only human part of him is his brain. He was in a terrible car accident. His brain was put in this robot. He's literally called Robot Man, and he is a drinking, loud NASCAR driver.
Okay.
And so his biggest thing is like when he counters these superhero situations is just to go like, what the fuck? And it actually becomes funny. It's like his catchphrase is what the fuck? He's played by Brendan Fraser.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. This show, Doom Patrol, yeah, there it is. That's Robot Man. And then beside him is Rita, who is Elastigirl, who is this 1940s golden age starlet who like walked into a jungle and she got stretchy powers. But like the show changes it to her character arc is it's not that she has stretchy powers, it's that she can't control the shape of her body. So unless she's like utterly focused and controlled, she turns into a blob.
Oh.
And she's very concerned about her looks.
Oh.
So I mean,
That's actually very well written. Like in terms of character.
Yeah, so they took advantage that nobody knows these characters and that these characters are weird, and I think infused it into this amazing television show. So, but Doom Patrol, yeah. I don't know how we even got started on that. Weird comic book television shows. There you go.
Yeah, this is the show. We go off on the most insane
Yeah,
tangents.
there you go.
I just love how much passion you have for comic books and stuff, and you actually mention it in the book.
Yeah.
Your time in Iraq, sometimes you'd have these long stints of doing nothing, correct? Or
Yeah.
just off time?
Well, with the big thing about combat zones is that your biggest enemy is boredom, and the reason why is because you'll either get a mission where you're sent out to the middle of nowhere, or you'll be stuck on base and you're just doing like regular guard duty, like you're just doing like go out, do the convoy, come back in, and that's your day.
Yeah.
And when you're on base back then, it was hard to get at the internet. You had to go to the internet cafes to get on the internet and stuff like that. You couldn't really. So, yeah, you're just kind of just sitting around, looking at a wall or sitting around and looking at a tent. And so if you have stuff to read, you can kill the boredom. And that's where I really got back into comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was during that time.
We got 3 minutes. That's yeah. And then you had asked your parents to ship you a bunch, correct?
Yeah. So I got a care package, which is sent over, and in the care package there were 2 comic books. There was like a Superman comic book, and there was this comic book called Ultimate X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know about the Ultimate Marvel Universe, it was this reboot that was done in the 2000s where Marvel was like, let's reboot all the Marvel characters as if they were created in the year 2000.
Oh.
And so it led to this thing where Spider-Man is 16. He's no longer a photographer. He's a web designer. Wolverine has a soul patch. Why? Because it's 2000. But
That's what can we do to make him 2000?
soul patch.
Soul patch.
But the issue I got sent of Ultimate X-Men was this idea that Nightcrawler was this like assassin. Like he had been scooped up by this government program and trained to be the perfect assassin. When you think about Nightcrawler's teleportation powers, you're like, oh, that makes sense. And I remember reading that being like, this is not the Nightcrawler I remember. What the hell is this? And it got me like hooked into it. And I was like, can you find these? Can you send them over to me?
Yeah.
And it had reinvigorated my. But I mean, I've always had the love for comic books because I honestly think that comic books there's 2 American mythologies. It's the Western and comic books. And the Western is not really ours. Like, there's lots of countries with a West. Italy loves the Old West. There's something like that. So I don't really quite think that we can claim the West as all of ours, but superheroes are American. Superman was created in 1938 by 2 Americans. And before then, we had the Spirit, we had Zor-El, but they weren't really the I'm wearing a cape, I'm wearing the tights, and I'm going to save the cat in the tree. They were not that character. They were like these evil, they were really mean. And Superman creates this whole giant mythology of, and it's truly American. It really is. Like Superman is American to a T. And if you look at most superheroes, they sort of all follow Superman's idea. But that's the thing that's so passionate to me because to me, it's that mythology that reaches all the way back to cave drawings. And again, it's one of the only things that we have that's uniquely American.
That is so well put. I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah.
We got to take a quick break.
No worries.
And then we'll be back and we'll talk some more. Do you guys suffer from anxiety, depression, relationship issues, anxiety, self-esteem issues? Did I mention anxiety?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. Wesam's World has partnered with BetterHelp to provide you with professional counseling, making it accessible, affordable, convenient, so that anyone who struggles with life challenges can get help anytime, anywhere, even on your tablet or smartphone or your computer. This is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. So after you sign up, they will match you to an available counselor who fits your objectives, preferences, and the types of issues that you are dealing with. Different counselors have different approaches and areas of focus, so it's important that they find the right person who can achieve the best results for you.
For you.
It's catered for your specific problems, which I think is amazing.
It's amazing.
If you start the process and you feel that your counselor isn't a good fit for you, you know what they do?
You can switch
Boom, done. You can switch counselors.
immediately.
There's literally no excuse to do this. BetterHelp offers access to licensed, trained, experienced, and accredited professionals. So you're not going to get Joe Schmo off the streets who's doing tarot cards or aura readings. These are real professionals who have trained in their field, have had real life experience, and are licensed by professional board members, which I think is super important nowadays.
Absolutely.
You can start communicating with these counselors, therapists, psychologists in under 24 hours. And there is a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's counselor network, which is sometimes not locally available in many areas, especially if you're like in a small town, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And if you're in a small town, usually those prices go way up. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor, and you can get counseling in 4 ways. You can exchange messages, you can chat live, you can speak over the phone, and you can even do video conferencing. It's incredible. It's more affordable, like I said, than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. And guess what? We just made it even more financially viable for you. All you have to do is go to betterhelp.com, that's HELP/Wesam, and you get 10% off your first month. Boom. That's betterhelp.com/Wesam. betterhelp.com/Wesam. 10% off your first month. You get the help you need. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Okay. we were just in break, and my mind was a little bit blown and shaken up a little bit.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about a superhero that Peyton knows, or an actor who played a superhero on Doom Patrol.
The Beard Hunter.
The Beard Hunter.
Is it Tommy Snyder?
Tommy Snyder.
Tommy Snyder.
He was great in the show. He was great performance.
What is the superpower of this man?
He's called the Beard Hunter.
Okay.
So if he eats a piece of your beard, he can track you anywhere in the world. Now, I know that sounds stupid,
Dude.
and insane.
You're fired. Is that your idea? The person
Yeah, the network exec. Or that's what you came into the room with? Get out of here.
Get out of here. Show canceled.
But there's a whole episode where they fight him. There's a
Shut
whole episode. No, I'm
What?
not. Yes.
Wait, no. I'm taking off my headphones. A whole episode on this?
It's a whole episode. Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I'm sorry. You got to know.
It's really good.
I haven't seen the show.
Sure.
And you got to admit that it's kind of weird here. Like, you're pitching me
Yeah.
a show. Like, this guy.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
If he
All
eats
right,
your beard,
here we go.
Jason, he'll find you and kill you.
Yep. All right. If he eats your beard, studio exec, if he eats your beard, he can track you anywhere in the world. But he also learns your deepest secrets and your deepest fears. So he doesn't even have to fight you. He can just throw up your past at you, your fears, like tell you about the worst thing, the deepest secret that you've been hiding from everybody else.
Oh.
And suddenly you don't want to fight him. And he can just walk right past you.
Okay.
That's the episode. Wow. And he beats the Doom Patrol.
Sorry, I can't.
He literally beats them all.
I'm not sold on this. I can't lie to you. I was gonna be like, I can't.
Well, fine, Disney. I'm gonna sell it to DC.
You know what? Fair. I'm actually
Go make your Lady and the Tramp.
live action Lion King.
Man, you're just all on the current events that I had this week.
Yeah, You know what? I might have to watch this one episode.
I'm telling you, man, it's awesome.
And live stream my reaction.
You
to it.
should do it. You should do it. And you shouldn't watch any of the other episodes. Just go in blind.
That's what I love
Yep.
doing. So, with some of our guests, sometimes that I don't like to do research for certain people.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, let's just go in blind.
All right.
I think it works better sometimes, especially if you have a curious nature.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. You know what? That could be the mark of a good TV show. If you go in blind to a random episode and be like, what is this show?
I don't know. I don't know. That's hard because especially in the world, we're so serialized now.
Yeah.
That I would say you're gonna have a hard time tracking that storyline.
Yeah.
In the Beard Hunter episode, because I think it's episode 8 of 15. And the Beard Hunter's like whole deal directly relates to the season arc. But I don't know. Like, it depends. Like, I think
Yeah.
I keep punching my mic. It's all good. I kind of think the perfect match is there are some television shows, and very few can do this, where they're serialized and they're episodic, where like you can drop into it, but there's sort of a track. Like Person of Interest, I thought did that very well. I thought Star Trek Deep Space Nine did that very well. But they're few and far between. Like now we're so serialized. And I kind of think we're so serialized to the point that detracts from the show sometimes. Yeah.
I had an experience with that with Game of Thrones season 1.
Yeah.
And what happened was, I don't know what happened. I pressed the wrong button. It just skipped to whatever. I thought the first episode was the last episode of season 1.
Whoa.
So I'm watching this and I'm engaged. Right. I'm like, whoa, I don't even know okay. Wow. They really throw all this shit at you. Episode.
Talk about starting at the last moment.
Yeah, when the guy gets his head cut off, I was like, "Oh, bummer." Do you know what I mean? And so I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And then I went to episode 2, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, he's a lot." Okay. Oh, they do like a jump back kind of thing. That's cool.
Wow.
My episode 2, I was actually episode 1,
That's crazy, man.
and so I start going through the season.
So you lost the arc of the Ned. Dying.
Yeah. Oh, but I thought it was cool because I'm like, damn it, I'm really engaged. I'm really like connected to this character. Shit. But that's okay. This is amazing writing. Because season 1 of Game of Thrones was really good. In my
It's
opinion.
great. It's great.
it's excellent.
But then I get to what I think is the last episode. I'm like, this looks familiar. And I'm like, no. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Man.
I've done that before. Actually, it's a funny fact. I did that on Doom Patrol.
Oh.
I actually skipped an episode. I think I skipped like episode 10 accidentally, like in the queue. Like it went from episode 9 right to 11. But I figured it out in the first 5 minutes because I was like, wait a minute, what? And I was like, oh, are they doing an out of order thing? Like, did they suddenly jump time? And then I was like, no, they can't. They wouldn't have done that. I was like, something's wrong. Like something's wrong.
Yeah.
So.
You host as well a very popular podcast, Geek History Lesson. Mm-hmm. You've been doing it for 5 years, you just told me.
Yeah, I think we're close to hitting episode 275.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, is it a weekly thing?
It's a weekly podcast where it's very similar to the book. I have a very narrow brand, Wesam.
Yeah. I love it.
I like to teach people about nerdy things. I like to educate people about nerdy things.
Great.
So Geek History Lesson is exactly what it sounds. It's like we pick a topic or a character in pop culture, sometimes video games, sometimes novels. We go all over the place. And in that hour, we either have a discussion about them or we give you a lesson, like everything you need to know. Like we tell you, here's the 10-cent origin is what we call like very brief cliff notes. Then we go deep. Then we have a discussion about them. And then we always give you recommended reading. We're like, this is the stuff you should check out if you're interested in this character. So, and it's very much a podcast. You don't have to listen to every episode, and we don't expect everybody to listen to every episode, but go down our list of 270, find the characters or subjects you're interested in, listen to those. And if you like them, then go through the whole thing. Yeah. But we also, there are a lot of fictional characters that pop up, and a lot of times we play act as these characters, and it has come to recurring bits. We have now turned this. It's like he's our most popular character now. Doctor Strange has become our most popular character because in the Doctor Strange episode, I introduced this idea that what if he is a pompous radio call-in host who doesn't really understand magic, very much like Frasier. I steal from the best, like we all do. And so it has become this recurring gag for Doctor Strange to call into our show and try to have his own show in the middle of our episodes. So even if anything magic related happens in the lesson, like we're talking about a character that's from DC or whatever, like there's a chance that Doctor Strange will come in, and now people expect it. So
that's awesome.
So it's like we have fun with it that way too.
That's great.
Yeah.
Side note.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange. I enjoyed that movie a lot.
Fun fact, I find a lot of people don't like it. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. Yeah. I really enjoy it. I'm actually very excited for that sequel.
Oh, there's a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh, great! I will go see that. What I really enjoyed was the like esoteric knowledge and all like that kind of stuff because that stuff I'm really interested in and how he learns all this magic and like the people who were like the guy learns to go to the Himalayan person. I'm horrible at names.
Karmatage.
Yeah,
I love that name. Sorry,
and
that's
he's
why I
like,
know
I'm
it.
not really. I didn't really solve my paralysis. I just learned how to do magic to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You know,
I'm like, oh.
You know what I think about, and I would say to anybody that doesn't really jive that movie, go watch it again. I think that movie has one of the most complete character arcs of any Marvel movie because modern Marvel has this tendency to not finish their character arcs because they're always like, we're going to the next movie. And they just let the character arcs don't fit. They'll do step 1 of the character arc, step 2. They'll hardly ever do step 3 and give the character resolution because they're always setting them up for the sequel. Doctor Strange's final scene is him looking out a window and his hand is shaking. And then it just goes credits. Or get a cityscape shot and then it goes credits. And for a Marvel movie, usually Marvel movies end with, here's the sequel, here's Avengers 5. That movie ends with this guy shaking his hand. So yeah, you learn that his character, he spent the entire movie being like, I gotta fix my hands, I'm very material, fix my hands. And then he goes on this spiritual journey. And at the end of the movie, he learns like, oh, I don't need to fix my hands because I'm a better person now. And this doesn't matter. The physical doesn't matter. And I'm like, that is genius. And this is a Disney giant blockbuster, and they end on this shot of
Excellent
a
message.
man's hand shaking.
Excellent
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
I love that whenever
Yeah.
you can entertain and actually have this gem of wisdom
Yeah,
right at
man.
the end where you can actually apply to your own life.
Yeah.
So true on the character arc because he starts up here,
Mm-hmm.
bottom of the barrel, and then the spiraling upwards.
Yeah.
Trying to
Well,
win
to me,
himself
like
back.
I noticed that because when I was rewatching, there's that scene where he's so concerned with his watches, and he's so concerned with his watches and his cufflinks and his hands, and I was like, oh, that's the arc of the movie because because I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, why are we spending so much time on this watch? Why is this watch so important?
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, because we're getting to that shot of the watch doesn't matter.
Are movies just ruined for you sometimes? Like you can't
Yeah.
sit down and enjoy. Okay, I'm not the only
100%.
one.
Yeah.
I started watching. Hey, bad movie night. We're doing a whole episode where we're gonna bring in Jonte and Isaiah, and we're just gonna watch a bad movie. I watched
I
Fast
have
and Furious.
plenty of those.
Oh yeah. This one's not as bad as some of the other ones, but I started watching Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh! It's so
Yep.
it's so cringe.
Yeah.
And I get it. It was aimed at a specific audience at a very specific time in the 2000s, I believe, right?
Probably 2002.
Yeah. 2003-ish, somewhere in
Dude,
there.
And the outfits.
Yeah. You know, but I'm gonna say this. There's nothing wrong with that type of movie. My problem is that when that type of movie doesn't know that it's that type of movie.
Fair.
And the argument I would make is Pacific Rim. I love the first Pacific Rim. I hate the second Pacific Rim.
Okay, I haven't seen them.
Well, because the first Pacific Rim, it's giant mechanized robots fighting monsters, right?
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But the first Pacific Rim knows that it's a giant robot fighting monsters, and so it's just like, okay, cool. Well, the robot has a giant flaming sword, and you're like, how do they get the giant flaming sword? You're like, I don't care, because it does, and it just like, we're gonna show it chopping off the head, and then Idris Elba gives this speech about like, we're gonna cancel the apocalypse, and you're like, what does that mean? But it's a cool line, so I'm going with it. Like they lean into it, whereas the second movie tries to do this story where like, these kids have nothing else in their life but fighting monsters with robots. And you need to understand that. And you're like, no. You're a movie about robots fighting monsters. I don't need this intense, like, will these children find purpose in their lives? I don't want that movie in Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
So.
I see those movies as well as finding like paralleling it to finding like old embarrassing photos of yourself as like 14 or 15. You know what I mean? You're like, that's what I thought was cool to wear.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that kind of stuff.
By the way, I want to ask you, I've been wanting to ask you this question because this is a memory I talked about Facebook. Speaking of podcast arcs, very early I talked about Facebook memories.
Yeah.
And one of the Facebook memories that popped up recently was a picture of you and me from 2007-ish, somewhere in there, when we were doing Hamlet.
Yeah.
And there is a picture of you and me, because you were Hamlet and I was Claudius, and we are scowling at each other. Like we were just like, scowling. It's just a funny picture of that. So my question to you is again, I can't have this conversation with many people in LA. is it surprising or weird to you that we're the only, I think we're the only two people from anybody that we knew in our department that are out here and actually doing this type of thing? Like, I want to ask you your opinion on this.
Is it surprising?
Yeah. Or shocking or weird. Or is it weird that we're here, 11 years later?
Yeah, it's been 10 years for me.
10 years.
10 years on August 1st, 10 years. Because I graduated in 2009.
Yeah.
So I don't know if surprising is the right word. Here's the thing. Moving anywhere out of your comfort zone, out of your comfort city is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Period. It's a life change. And it's scary, and literally all your instincts are telling you not to do it because it's dangerous. Now, surviving in a competitive city like Los Angeles is extremely difficult. And when I say surviving, I mean just finding a job and making ends meet, period. Then if you're trying to compete in one of the most competitive industries, the entertainment industry in Los Angeles, it's so overwhelming. It's good to go into it sometimes not knowing how overwhelming it is. Otherwise, it might scare you
Out of it. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I always saw you as someone who was tenacious and stuff. So for you, I wasn't surprised that you stayed here. I'm trying to think who else was in our class.
Have you forgotten?
That's the real answer. No, I'm kidding.
No.
We had a couple people move out here, but for financial reasons, they had to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if it's a conversation of, is it strictly finance? Is it strictly they didn't want it bad enough? I don't know. I don't know those answers.
It's just, it's just one of those weird things. Again, like it popped up into my feed the other day, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's interesting. And I knew I was coming to do this podcast, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
You know what would have surprised me?
Yeah.
If more people had made it and stayed.
Interesting.
Because I would have been like, well, maybe it's not that hard.
All right.
Yeah. Is that fair?
If Steve can do it. All right. Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, the more people who are doing it, come on. If everybody everybody from our class,
I love this. Everybody.
I'm looking right into the camera.
Oh, man. No, it's just
It's nice to reflect on because you just never know where your path leads you and when you will intersect again with certain people. It just, life is very interesting like that. Yeah, man.
Is this the most introspective and modeling Wesam's world you've ever had? I just want to know. No?
No.
Oh, we can.
No.
Damn, we should have gone darker.
No, let's go darker.
All right, cool.
Do you have anything in specific?
I mean, how do you like your bedroom when the lights are out? We're going darker.
Oh, dude, that is very dark. Actually, my room's pretty well lit.
Oh, damn.
I'm actually like
all right.
Natural light.
Oh,
I actually don't have a light. I have
one
light.
You have no light in your bedroom?
I have one salt lamp in my bedroom, and that's it. And I use my bathroom light to kind of illuminate my room in the evening.
Okay.
That's it, though.
You're one of those guys.
I'm one of those guys because I get so much natural light. Right. And my room doesn't have a fucking light fixture.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I'm not buying a lamp. I'm not buying a light fixture.
Yeah.
Don't need it.
Yeah. Thanks, Disney. Not buying a lamp.
Disney. Oh my goodness. You know what? No. I mean, are you surprised where your life has taken you?
Oh, 100%, man. I feel like every turn of my life has been like, well, I'm not really that surprised, but every turn of my life, I'm very much operate on a leaf on the wind kind of. Like if the universe is telling me something, I'll do it. Like that's the whole reason why I hosted DCL Access for 4 years. I never wanted to be an online YouTube host, but I found out about that audition and I applied for it and they hired me and I was like, okay, cool. And then I started doing it. I was like, this is a fun job. I knew that wasn't going to be it forever, but that has afforded me a lot of opportunities that like allowed me to meet a lot of people and do a lot of different stuff. So, I don't know. Weirdly, there's been a recent development that has kind of made me be like, oh, maybe this is sort of like fated. Like I was supposed to take all these steps to get to this point, to meet the right people, to be over here. So, but no, I'm not that surprised. I'm not that surprised about you and me, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm not that surprised about you and me. And I think you are right. There are some other people I would have been like, oh, really? Okay.
I did have a very out-of-body experience. I was on set this week. NCIS LA was kind enough to bring my character back as a recurring.
Oh.
So I wrapped up this week, and there was a moment I was on stage. I was on the stages behind, like just waiting for them to finish the
setup
setup.
or whatever.
Yeah. And I was just like, this feels so normal for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to 10 years ago when I first moved out to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh yeah, if I would have gone back in time and be like, hey, in 10 years, you would have done all this. And then at this exact moment, you're going to be back on NCIS LA for your second episode. And it's going to seem totally normal. It's not going to seem uncomfortable or nervous or anything. And you're going to feel right at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, whoa, that's crazy. And like then I began going, man, how some people will work and work and work and work at this career path and never get to experience this.
I have a story that relates to that. The first comic book I ever read was Death of Superman. And I bought it in the gas station in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. And it was the first time that I ever realized that, because Wonder Woman and Batman showed up to Superman's funeral, and I was like, that's all the same story? What?
Yeah.
I thought Superman was alone. I thought these people were all alone.
Yeah.
And it made me search out the universe. And that story is mainly written by a whole bunch of people and drawn by a whole bunch of people. But the issue where he actually dies, and the showrunner of that storyline is this man named Dan Jurgens, who's a legend in the comic book industry. He created the character Doomsday. It was in Batman v Superman. Like, he's just a legendary character. And through my work and all this stuff like that, I've become friends with Dan Jurgens. Like, he gave me a quote for my book, and he shared the book online, and like we talk regularly. And if I go back to 1992 and were to tap my little kid Jason and be like, you're gonna be friends with the guy that made this book, his head would literally explode.
Yeah.
Like, it would just, and like, that's one of those for that, to me, that's like one of those moments where I'm like, oh yeah, like every once in a while when I'm emailing Dan, like just being like, hey, what's up? It's like, oh, I'm emailing this guy that was the top of the mountain for me for most of my life. This guy, and the fact that he will reply is amazing.
It's a little surreal.
Yeah, very surreal. Yes.
That moment, I just wanted to finish before I forget.
I'm sorry.
No.
I apologize.
You interrupted, and I'm kidding.
Jesus.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna unsign the book.
No, I just wanted to hit. I didn't want myself to come across in this way. I just wanted to say, at the end, at that moment, I was like, when I said like, there's people who work, and they'll never get to where I'm at. It made me so thankful for all the people who I came across who've kind of helped me or mentored me along the way, and I felt very like blessed and just this gratitude. I just felt kind of like shining, like I felt like it was shining in here, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna not take it for granted ever, and I don't think I ever have, and I just want to keep doing the best possible work I can, because I don't want to ever look back and go, man, you could have done better, or you took it for granted then, because it's such a rare opportunity to do. I feel like my job. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great philosophy to take into any life, even if you're not working in the entertainment industry. I think we as humans naturally take everything for granted. We take our family for granted. We take our jobs for granted. We take our house for granted. We take our car for granted. And it's funny because every one of those things, I mean, especially think about your car. Like, I could drive out of here today and immediately wreck my car. I was knocking on wood, everybody. And my car's gone.
Right.
And suddenly that car could mean a lot to me. Like, that car could have been the car that I drove out here. It's not. But it could have been, and that would mean a lot. Or my house or my family or something like that. And we always think these things are going to be there forever. We think they're going to be forever. But I think the lesson of life is that nothing is there forever. And so, yeah, it's always that idea of being present, like the thing they say in meditation, like be present where you are right now, and like realize like, oh wow, I have this stuff right now. Like the fact that I'm getting to record a podcast episode with you right now. There's somebody out there that's listening to my voice that I have never met, and they might be like, oh, that sounds like a pretty cool dude. And that the opportunity that I have to connect with this random stranger is amazing.
Yes. You hit it on the nose, man.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the few things we do have control over, being present in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
We're so deep.
Yeah.
That's the way we do it here.
Do I get to talk about current events? We brought it up several times. I want to talk about. Can I talk about current events?
Michael, let's bring him up. Let's bring him up.
Well, we have 5 minutes left until the next break.
Oh,
But-
let's actually go to break then, and then we'll go current events when we come back. Sure. So we don't interrupt the session. Yeah, we'll be back.
All right. And we're back.
All right, we back. Jason's been chomping at the bit for current events.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
First off, I wanted to show Jason one of Wesam's favorite artists.
Michael, we were having a good time. Fuck, man, I don't even want to. I fucking hate this guy.
What is this?
Dude, it's the worst human being on the planet.
Whoa, okay, easy there. I don't know if he's that bad. I kind of think, Vladimir Putin might be worse than that guy.
Okay, fine. Vladimir, that guy.
Okay.
Dude, I'm so annoyed with him, Michael. He does these art things, these modern art.
Where he just pops balloons?
Yeah, with knives, or
Or he
sometimes.
does stuff like this.
You by the way, I don't mean to tell you how to produce this podcast, but have you reached out to this guy to get him on the show? You should. Because to see this battle would be amazing.
He's top of the list.
Oh, is he? He's top of the list.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be a bit difficult, seeing as how he.
All you have to do is look at Wesam's face right now to know that would be one of the best episodes of Wesam's World
It'd be the
ever.
shortest.
It would be a long plane ride from Norway.
Oh, he's in Norway?
I'll
You
pay.
gotta go to him. You gotta go to him.
Dude,
Okay, what would be the hashtag? Hashtag, what's this guy's name?
Jan Hakan Eriksson.
Oh, that's not good for a hashtag at all.
he even ruins hashtags.
Like, like it needs to be like hashtag Wesam Balloon Yes. Like everyone on Twitter listening right now, hashtag Wesam Balloon Yes if you'd like to see Wesam interview, what's his name again?
Jan.
Jan.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'd love to bring him
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah. I think this needs to happen. Hashtag Wesam Balloon Yes.
You know, if you go to his YouTube page or his Instagram page, it's just all this stuff, and he calls it art, and it's not.
See, I want to hear him explain why it's art to you. And what if he convinces you in less than 60 minutes?
I'll choke him. I don't know. That's the only
The
thing
first
I can do.
live murder on Adobe Radio.
And on to current events.
All right.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. I loved it.
I got so angry, I had to take off my headphones. I was like, all right.
Since we were talking about it earlier,
Yes.
but let's bring up the Spider-Man out of the MCU.
What a thumbnail right there.
It's a hell of a thumbnail.
So, Spider-Man and Disney and Sony are having a little tiff right now because Disney wants more of a 50-50 deal rather than what the current one is. I think is like 95-5, where Sony gets 95 and Disney gets 5%. They
Right.
want a more balanced deal, and
Yeah.
Sony said no.
What do you think about that?
I think Disney is a greedy billionaire company, and I think they need to shut up. That's I'm pretty Disneyed out right now. I really am.
Yeah?
I am, because if the company was like giving us exciting movies and interesting things, then I would be down for it. But like, what the last two movies they gave us were live action remakes that were almost word for word the movie that they gave us 20 years ago. I mean, where is the creativity in that? I don't see it. From what I understand of the deal is that it was that Disney. The deal currently is that Spider-Man can appear in any Marvel movie, and Sony gets no money from that.
Yeah.
But when Spider-Man is produced by Disney, but the movie is released by Sony, Disney gets like 5% of that. But Disney were like, hey, if we're producing a movie, we want 50% of that. And to me, Disney's getting Spider-Man in their movies. By the way, Spider-Man has been in 3 Marvel movies. There have only been 2 Sony Spider-Man movies produced by the MCU. So far, Disney's winning because all 3 of those made $1 billion, I think. And Sony's like, or Disney's like, we need more money with
And-
your character.
Do you know what Disney also gets?
No.
They
All
get
the merchandise.
All the
and
merchant,
toys.
that's huge. That's her.
And that
Yeah.
sometimes makes more money than the damn
Yeah.
movies itself.
I actually think Sony needs to get more money out of this
Yeah.
deal. I think Sony's totally in the right, and I know everybody's saying boycott Sony, but
Absolutely not.
I think Sony's 100%. They own the rights to the film rights of this character.
They don't need to do
Yep.
anything for Disney.
Yep. And-
They're doing Disney a favor, really.
Also, by the way, Sony made the best Spider-Man movie of all time last year. It's called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
They don't need Disney. They don't. That's Sorry, I got. That's
No, don't be
a
sorry.
lot. A lot of this is vitriol because one of the things on my podcast is I get people from Twitter coming and being like, "What do you think about this?" And all of them have been boycott Sony, and they just want Spider-Man in the MCU so bad, this fictional character in the MCU so bad. But I look at Disney as like, oh, hey, they just laid off 100,000 Fox employees. I'm not really on their side.
Some of them are even saying, like, going as far as to say, "Oh, Disney buy Sony."
I don't want that.
No, not
I
at
don't.
all.
Disney already owns 25% of Hollywood. They don't need more.
Yeah.
What would you do in if you were in Disney's position, in a position where you can negotiate deals and everything like that? I'm just curious.
Oh, interesting. Man, I don't know. Because Disney will be the loser here. Like, losing Spider-Man out of the universe is going to hurt them.
I disagree. I mean, in terms of
I guess
not-
story-wise, it's going to hurt them.
for sure.
Yeah.
Story-wise, it might do that.
Yeah.
Financially, they're just so big that
Oh,
I feel
yeah,
like they're just like,
Too big to fail. you would say.
yeah.
You know.
I don't know though.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. If I was Sony, what I would do.
Yeah.
If I was Sony, I would make whatever the third Spider-Man movie is, because they said that Tom Holland signed for 2 more. I would go immediately put feelers out to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and say, hey, what would it cost to get you to come back as Spider-Man? Because we have the rights. And I would cast a character as the African-American Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and I would make live-action Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse right now as the biggest bird to Disney, right now. Because that movie would blow everybody's mind.
Ooh. Okay.
Like, have the 3 live-action Spider-Man meet on screen. It'll make them $1 billion.
Yeah.
I'd go see
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
That.
And it would be the biggest way for Sony to be like, we don't need you. We don't need you, Disney. You could have had a piece of this. You let it go.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. In terms of the Disney, I don't know if there is anything Disney can do besides give them a piece of their Marvel movies, which I don't think they're going to do. They're not going to do that.
I think what they're doing is that this is exactly the negotiating strategy, is releasing the information that this is happening and that get all the fanboys to say, hey, you're going to lose Spider-Man in the MCU. Go boycott Sony.
Interesting.
Yeah. Although I said it was problem story-wise. I don't know. It is a thing. Spider-Man, they kind of set up Spider-Man as the next Iron Man story-wise in this movie. And we're going into a phase of Marvel. It'll be interesting to see where we just lost all our big guns. We don't have Iron Man now. We don't have Captain America now. Thor is going to be in one more movie, but he's handing the mantle off to somebody else. So we're going into this phase. If you look at the next phase of Marvel, it is a bunch of movies of new characters or side characters. It'll be interesting to see if I don't know if all those movies will make $1 billion. Like, so far, we're in this period now where a Marvel movie comes out and makes $1 billion. You know, I don't know if we're going to see that over the next 2 years. It'll be interesting to see if we do.
Do you think that maybe the Fox deal that Sony or that Disney made is also the reason why they're doing all these reboots, kind of? Because they don't have to do much?
I always heard that it was about.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, man.
Okay.
I'm just saying if you want to pull up the mic to you, Peyton, for next time. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
that just.
I was like,
totally
somebody come in the studio?
Totally like,
It's all
no,
good.
I was just the worst way to tell him to do that.
I always heard that they were doing that for these live action remakes because they're trying to keep it's their subtle way of keeping the
the IP.
copyright fresh.
That too, yeah.
By the way, do you know that the copyright to Mickey Mouse should have lapsed 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse should be in the public domain right now. And Disney, through all their millions of dollars, keep doing these court battles to extend the copyright. Also, because of that, Superman should be in the public domain right now.
Funny enough, I saw a thread.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw a thread that Spider-Man should actually be in the public domain.
Yeah,
after
Batman
this
just
year
entered
as well.
Batman, I think this year should have entered the public domain. Can you imagine that world? If Batman and Superman are in the public domain, Mickey Mouse is in the public domain? Yeah, but
be
these,
messy.
yeah, it would be. But also, we'd get some interesting stories. Like,
That's very true.
we'd get the story where Superman is a porn star or something like that, where you'd be like, I don't know about this.
We already have that.
We do.
Let's pull it up.
Oh,
I always try to see it from as many different perspectives as possible. And being one of the execs, in charge at, let's say, Disney, they're not going to be like, well, let's not make a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? It's just
I understand that.
It's like just on a purely free capitalism kind of thing. They're not going to go, well, let's just give them that one. We have enough here. It's just no business exec ever says that. They'd be like, no, get as much as you can. No, we're going to fight for that. And I'm like, I get it. It's tough, though.
Maybe the only solution now, because Disney released all this stuff, is maybe the idea is Disney gets that character in more movies. Like they're like, okay, we'll keep the profit margin the same, but we want Spider-Man in double the movies. So right now, I think they get They've had Spider-Man 3. I think the agreement was for Spider-Man to be in 2 more, plus the other 2 Spider-Man movies they were going to make for Sony, something like that. So if they were like, okay, we get Spider-Man now in 5 of our movies, and you don't get to touch it, and we'll keep the profits the same. But I don't know. I honestly think releasing it publicly has now, I think it is certified that it will not happen now. I don't think they'll reach an agreement now.
Just because I'm kind of familiar with a lot of the ways these negotiations go. Some of my entertainment lawyer kind of filled me in on how aggressive the lawyers sometimes talk to each other. This doesn't surprise me too much.
Oh,
you know
no.
what I mean?
No,
especially with negotiating, and when you're negotiating for Disney or you're negotiating for Sony, you got hardcore lawyers who know the ins and outs of your business like nobody else. So
they're looking for loophole. Have you ever heard the story about how Bryan Cranston got Breaking Bad? So it's an amazing story. So Vince Gilligan wrote the part of Walter White for Bryan Cranston because they'd worked together on the X-Files. He specifically wrote the part for Bryan Cranston.
Wow.
And at that time, Bryan Cranston was known as the goofy dad from Malcolm in the Middle. So when he brought the show to AMC, they greenlit the season, the whole first season, and Vince was like, well, I want to give the part to Bryan Cranston. AMC was like, no, we're not doing that. So they made him do auditions. Bryan Cranston was in the auditions. Apparently, Bryan Cranston did better than all the other actors, and AMC was like, we're not giving that part to the goofy dad from Malcolm in the Middle. We don't care. We don't think he can sell that show. Bryan Cranston released to the press, because he apparently had gotten another offer from some Fox sitcom. He released to the press, to the Hollywood Reporter, that this other Fox show was going to scoop him up and give him a part and do this other stuff like that. And AMC signed him the next day, as soon as the article broke. Yeah. So this type of stuff, again, it's the dirty negotiation.
They did that with Deadpool too.
Yeah, and also the Henry Cavill leaving Superman articles that came out, to me, I have no doubt that was released by Henry Cavill's agent to make Warner Brothers be like, whoa, hey, no, come back, Henry.
Yeah.
So
it's a business.
It's
a strategy. It's war.
And it's cutthroat. And I don't know.
You got to have a good team and who knows how to play. And then you have to know what's at risk and what bridges you might be burning. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
These execs, they jump ship too. So don't be worried. Let's say if you've quote unquote burned a bridge with AMC or whatever,
just gotta wait 5 years.
Yeah. And then those execs aren't there anymore, and then you've got a new people in charge. So
it's also a weird one because this is literally a $1 billion battle. It's a $1 billion battle over a fictional character. It really is. It's not even about an actor. It's about a fictional character.
Well, imagine how it looks to the board of directors if whoever side wins. They're like, oh, look at the CEO. He won against Disney or he won against Sony. Let's keep him on. Let's give him his bonus.
Yeah.
So there's some selfish interests involved as
sure.
well.
Yeah. I mean,
just like in any kind of business situation. Unfortunately, there's a balance.
Yeah. Internally in Disney, this might knock Kevin Feige down a few pegs. They might be like, you lost Spider-Man. You lost us Spider-Man.
Yeah. What else is on the current event plate?
Well, I also wanted to, since we're still on Disney.
It's a lot of Disney stuff.
Streaming.
Jeff Goldblum is having a TV show called The World According to Jeff Goldblum, which should be delightful.
Okay.
I hope it's filmed in his jazz club, but I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, all right. Good for Jeff. I'm glad he's getting a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right.
Well, yeah, he's a client.
All right, great.
from work.
Well, that's good for him. Congrats, Jeff. We'll have
don't
you on the
know.
show. Talk about it.
I don't know if any of you have seen this movie, but Ready or Not was fantastic.
Oh yeah, haven't seen it.
It is amazing. It wasn't my favorite movie of the year so far.
I'm sure it is. I saw the trailer. It gave me anxiety, and I'm like, you know what?
Do they fight vampires? Why does everybody have guns? What's the deal with this? Give me the one sentence pitch.
So the idea behind the movie is that this woman's getting married to someone in this like billionaire family. They're like a family of game makers, and everyone that joins the family has to play a game the night of the wedding. And if they draw a certain card, which is the hide and seek card, the family has to look for that person and kill them in like a ritualistic like.
So it's the most dangerous game.
Yes.
Oh,
But it's
that's
so much fun.
okay. That is interesting, especially in our industry, because they just canceled that movie, The Hunt.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was also the most dangerous game.
I think that's silly. Sorry.
I do too.
It is really silly.
Yeah. They're the same movie.
They are the same movie, except this is like the one person versus
Yes.
versus the family, and it's kind of a contained thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it has a little bit of a supernatural element to
Okay.
it. Just because like there's this curse in the
But you said it was
family.
great.
It was fantastic.
All right, cool.
So great.
That annoys me. Whenever they cancel movies or they start blaming video games for violence, and I'm like, oh, what video games were on during the Roman Empire? Huh?
Yeah.
Gladiator fights.
Yeah, it's all gladiator fights.
Just annoys me, man. Anything else, Michael?
The Amazon's on fire,
Oh,
as we talked about
Yeah.
earlier.
yeah. So I really wish people cared about the Amazon as much as they did for the church being on fire, the Notre Dame church.
Oh, yeah.
And they raised all that money so quickly.
Yep.
Actually, I just saw that the millionaires and billionaires who pledge money, they actually haven't really lived up to their pledges.
Oh, you mean so they're saying that they would donate, but they haven't.
Most of the donations have come from like actual like poor people who have just given money to the
Wow.
rehabilitation effort.
At this point, I think we may be better off just grabbing a fire extinguisher and getting on a plane ourselves, guys. I mean, at this point, I think that'll do the most good. Yeah, it's terrible. It's
It's really interesting to me what people jump onto
yeah.
and want to push and what they want to post about. And then other things just get no attention at all.
Well, that's another reason why I've had a hard time giving a damn about this Spider-Man thing when the Amazon rainforest is burning right now. I'm like, I don't care about a fictional character, guys.
I came across this article, and maybe because it's so normalized in the Middle East for things like this to happen, unfortunately, 67 killed in a suicide bomber in an Afghani wedding.
Yeah.
67.
I heard about that. Yeah.
That's an insane amount of people to die all at once at a wedding. And
No news coverage. Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm comparing it again to the Notre Dame fire.
Yeah.
Look at that compared to that or the Amazon rainforest
Yeah.
right now.
Well, it's the same thing. I think most African Americans in our country would probably bring up the argument that there are so many shootings in inner cities that you never hear about.
My bad.
Oh, we're gonna rock out to that. Okay.
Yep.
I was like, that's an interesting subject to rock out to. Inner city shootings.
Commercial break. Commercial break.
Yeah, quick.
Automatic video play.
Please stand by.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's a rough world out there. But I don't know whether it was always a rough world. We just didn't know about it, and the internet has made us see it. You know,
Probably.
Do we live in ignorance is bliss world for a long time? I don't know.
Probably.
The 90s felt like that.
But as long as Spider-Man gets to meet Wolverine and Captain America, it's okay, right? That's all I care about.
I got one last article.
I like this character voice. I don't know who he is. But
I like to call him Ohio Man. He's the guy in Ohio that just loves movies, but will never make one himself.
that's okay.
Yeah.
You can love movies.
And
not
that's
make
it. And that's if you're happy in your life, then I don't care what your job is.
Yeah.
But don't tell people how to make movies unless you're want to make one. Unless you want to actually put the sweat and tears and stress into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's no easy feat.
Yeah.
One last article.
Yeah.
They have gone down to see the Titanic for the first time in 14 years, and it is starting to disintegrate.
It's still rusty. Okay, got it.
It is disintegrating even. I think they said that the captain's tub or whatever is completely gone.
Wow.
So yeah,
Not the captain's tub.
slowly but surely it is disintegrating.
You know, I wish, maybe in my fantasy, I imagine some like hardcore Titanic fan. He's like reading this article and he's just like, fuck! You know what I mean? And just like,
I'm never going to see it.
right. Like, he's like, why God?
It's James Cameron, actually.
Oh my God, of course.
What? Oh,
James
the Titanic.
Cameron is that fan.
He's like, I have to see the Titanic before the evil robots show up because they're coming soon. Judgment Day is around the corner. I've got to see the Titanic.
Hey, I'm not bad mouthing Mr. Cameron because I want to continue to work in this industry. Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5. He said he's filming all at once or something like that.
It's like 2 and 3, I think.
Okay,
I think it's 4 too.
Nobody wants these movies.
I'm
Sorry.
I wonder where they're gonna go with it. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think they're going to get
They're going
bluer.
under the ocean.
Oh, that's right.
apparently.
Yeah, it's under the ocean. Yeah. Yeah, it's Little Mermaid Avatar.
It's 4 sequels.
Yeah. Yeah.
4
first movie is
sequels.
Or nobody wants these movies, James.
The first
4?
movie is Pocahontas. The second
James.
one's The Little Mermaid.
James, nobody wants these movies, James. Nobody.
Watch.
All the way to
Just retire.
all the
Love
way
you,
to-
just retire.
December 2025.
Oh dear God. Well, hasn't Avatar Land in Disney World already opened up? Like that's open now?
What?
I think so.
Yeah, there's an
Probably.
Avatar Land in Walt Disney World.
In
set
World in Florida.
Yes, in
Okay,
the
okay.
Orlando one. Yeah, yeah. And it's a theme park about Avatar. It's like you go to that planet,
You know,
Paradisio or whatever it's called.
I was never the
Papyrus.
Yes.
Papyrus
Papyrus
yes,
Land.
Yeah, the
Papyrus
SNL.
Land, yes.
The SNL
Yeah.
skit was freaking hilarious. I think he should do more stuff like that, like comedy stuff like that. What's his name? Ryan Gosling. Just more ridiculous comedy.
He was
things.
great in The Nice Guys.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
I
love
that
you
movie.
should see it.
Okay.
Shane Black, it's awesome.
Okay,
So
cool.
good.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good.
Disneyland was kind of. I can't really go back unless I'm able to do it this way again. So when I was on For the People, ABC company, ABC owned by
Yeah.
Disney, they give us the tour guide.
Did they walk you to the front of every line?
Oh yeah. It's like the.
Look at you.
Yeah, and so that was my first time going.
I can imagine all the people in line be like, "Ooh, who are they?
I know exactly.
Who are they?
So I took Michael.
You're like, we're
That
the
was-
people.
that was pretty
We're
awesome.
the people.
Yeah, this was like before you came here, Peyton.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we went without you, Peyton.
It was December.
And dude, I don't think I could do
Go back.
Disneyland regular
Yeah, yeah.
again because those lines are long.
Yeah, man.
I felt kind of good skipping them.
I went. My younger sister worked for an ABC affiliate in Joplin, Missouri. And
Okay.
So when she came out here about 5 or 6 years ago, we went. It's the only time I've ever been to Disneyland, and we got the fast passes automatically. We didn't get to go to the front of the line, and it didn't really save you any time. And I kind of just looked around Disneyland and said, "Okay, I got it. I got what I needed.
Yeah.
Don't ever need to go back."
Oh,
you know.
oh, you think I'm gonna wait 45 minutes in a line?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'll go back for. I'm gonna go back and see Star Wars Land sometime, but I'm
Okay.
in no rush to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here.
Yeah.
We actually did the haunted thing at Universal last year. I think it was last year.
Halloween Horror Nights.
Halloween
yeah.
Horror Nights,
It was
yeah.
last year.
And I was looking at the prices, and it's like, do you want the super fast pass or just the regular? And it was a little bit more expensive
Yeah.
for the super fast. But I'm like, man, I hate lines, dude. Thank God we got that.
It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, we skipped. We
Hours.
saved hours.
Yep.
Hours. And the thing is, after you've gone through 3 mazes,
Mm-hmm.
scary mazes, they're all the same.
They are all the same. Yeah. Fun fact, that was my second job in LA.
Oh.
I was security at Halloween Horror Nights. I listened
gosh.
to a lot of podcasts. I was the guy in the black sheet just making sure that no drunk people punched a monster.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, once you work behind it, those mazes are ruined for me because I know exactly where all the stuff's going to happen. I know
Right.
exactly where they're going to be.
Yeah.
And I did it 3 years ago, and I wasn't scared by it at all. And I literally kept stopping my wife and being like, there's going to be a thing right there. So just wait a second, he'll pop out. And then he did. And I was like, okay, now we can walk on.
There was one guy at the very last maze. I don't know if you remember this one, Michael. He was on an electric fence, and he was like acting like he was electrocuted. Jason.
Did you touch his fence?
No.
Oh, okay.
You being a performer,
All right.
you understand
Yeah.
the amount of energy it takes to
Yeah.
constantly.
And he was going full 100% like I'm being electrocuted all the time.
I was like, hey, he might need help. Like, he might really be electric. Like,
He might be having a seizure. We'd never know.
oh, and I'm like, he for sure gave himself whiplash and a concussion. This is how violently he was shaking. I'm like, this guy's doing it for hours.
You know, but his abs probably looked great.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
Because he's probably
can't-
always clenching them.
But like, imagine I'm doing this for just a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's tiring.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Crazy people, man.
People are crazy.
Let's see. How much time we got left?
We got about 5 minutes.
Great. We'll wrap this thing up. Anything else you want to talk about before we head out, Mr. Jason?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Wesam.
I want to say this though while
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
thinking about that. First of all, thank you for your service,
Oh, you're welcome.
and
Thanks for having me on the show.
of course, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing this book with us, the world, with our one listener, Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves?
Yeah.
The guy who's directing Batman?
Yes,
Is that the same Matt Reeves?
He gets that a lot.
Oh, all right.
I thought that's
Hello.
who it was. No, we have a very loyal fan.
Oh, okay.
And so today I acted like I'm just doing the show for them.
Oh,
Yeah,
Matt
so-
Reeves.
Yeah, Matt Reeves.
Cool.
Special shout out.
Yeah.
And
Our only fan of Geek History Lesson is Hank.
oh,
Yeah, it's only Hank.
it's Hank.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's probably listening to this.
Oh, he probably is. Hello, Hank.
Hank.
Yep.
Matt. The weirdest
Yep.
podcast.
Goodbye
ever.
to everybody else.
And people can find this on Amazon, everywhere
Yeah,
you
it's
get
on
books.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's Target.
Kindle.
Yeah, it's on Kindle. Yeah.
You do audiobook for this?
No, I didn't because they wanted to. My publisher. This is the. I love my publisher, but that's the one thing. I wanted to record the audiobook because it's so personal and
Yeah.
it's written in first person. They wanted the audiobook to come out the same day that the physical book did, and my schedule wouldn't allow me to record the book, so it just
bummer.
didn't work out. But weirdly, the audiobook is selling really well.
Yeah.
So I guess people don't like my voice. It's all right.
So they just don't know it.
But no, it's available everywhere. It's everywhere you can buy books, you can
Awesome.
get it. Yeah.
And then Geek History Lesson.
Yep, Geek History
Weekly.
Lessons on iTunes, everywhere you can listen to podcasts.
YouTube as well, or no?
Yeah, but we don't do it live. We don't record video for Geek History Lesson.
Okay, that's what I was.
yeah,
okay,
it's
so
an
no
audio
video, it's
podcast
just an
only.
audio
Yeah, mhm.
only. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, man. So good to catch up with you, and let's
dude.
make this happen more often. You're
Sure.
actually one of our favorite guests, in my opinion. Very
don't
easy
lie.
to talk to you.
Yeah, remember hashtag Wesam Balloon. Yes, I want to come back for that episode.
You know what? If we do it, you're more than welcome.
I want
to
to come back.
because we might need security. Michael, play us out. Thank you, Adobe Radio, for everything that you do here. Thank you, Nice Guy Digital, our new Patreon supporters. We appreciate you so much. Seriously, thank you for giving a little extra. We love giving you a lot extra in return. Remember, if you have an Alexa, all you got to do is say, "Hey, Adobe," or "Hey, Alexa, play Adobe Radio," and then boom, you got Adobe Radio. Thank you to Guayaquil for keeping us hydrated and refreshed and caffeinated during the show. Thank you for everything you're doing for the Amazon rainforest. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Peyton. Thank you again, Jason.
Thank you, Wesam. It was
Jason,
a pleasure.
Thank you. Jason Inman at everything.
At Jawin, Jawiin.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you to Steph Jula. Thank you, God. Thank you to all of our service people who are, our military people who are serving in the U.S. Army and the U.S. military, excuse me. We appreciate your service and appreciate your sacrifice. To all of our veterans, thank you. Always remember to listen, think, and then talk.